So today we're actually going to start our first unit. Everything that we've done up until this point has kind of been a prerequisite or something that you need to know for multiple units. This one's going to be the biggie that you need. This is our first unit, our first lesson in that unit. So our first actual unit is all about gross income. That is your paycheck at your job before they take out taxes. Generally, it's how is your paycheck calculated. Then we're going to do a separate unit about what your paycheck look like after taxes and how are those taxes calculated. So first things first, a couple of definitions that you're going to need to know. You're probably familiar with most of them if you have a job. Your hourly rate, that is how much you get paid per hour of work. So if you're making like $8 an hour, that would be your hourly rate. Your straight time pay is how much you would make, how much your paycheck would be before taxes. The way straight time pay is calculated, you take that hourly rate, $8.75, $10.50, whatever you're making an hour, and you multiply it by how many hours you work. That's how your total straight time pay is going to be calculated. And your gross income is the amount that's actually on your paycheck, the amount your check is for, again, before taxes come out. If you have a steady paycheck and you kind of understand what's going on, our next unit is going to be about your net income, which is how much your paycheck is after taxes and insurance and all that other jazz is taken out. Our actual calculation is just going to be one simple multiplication problem. You take the number of hours you worked times how much you were making per hour. That's your answer. That's your net pay. I'm sorry, gross pay. I get them confused sometimes too. All right, so first example, Susan works in an ice cream shop. She earns $8.75 an hour. Last week, she worked 32 hours. What is her straight time pay? So setting this up, I'm going to take her rate, $8.75. I'm going to multiply that by the 32 hours that she worked last week. Her gross pay for last week, her straight time pay, gross pay, kind of interchangeable, is $280. And that's it. You're done. End of the problem. So just a couple more examples just to make sure that you really understand what's going on here. The dollar amount can change. The hours that you work can change. Right now, all of these are assuming that the person working is an hourly employee. When you have a salary position like myself, you get paid the same every week, whether you work 40 hours or work 80 hours. It doesn't matter. That's your paycheck. But that's a whole separate thing. We'll talk about that later. All right, Bobby Sue is an office manager at a weekly newspaper. He earns $22.50 an hour. That's a pretty sweet gig. What is his straight time pay the week if he works 35 hours? So again, you take his hourly rate, $22.50, times the number of hours he worked last week, 35. Again, straight multiplication, nothing fancy, no kind of gotchas on this. It just is what it is. So for that week, $787.50. Okay. Lauren Rodriguez earns $8.35 an hour working part-time as a swimming instructor. $8.35. That is her hourly rate. What's her straight time pay for the week if she works 25 hours? All right, grab your calculator. $8.35 times 25 hours, $208.75. All right, now I have one kind of bonus question here just to see if we can kind of talk through it. Let's approach this the other way. You're making $6.25 an hour, but you need to make sure you make $5.85 in a week. How many hours do you have to work? Do you need to maybe talk to somebody, pick up an extra shift? So this is going to be a little bit different where we're trying to work backwards and figure out how many hours we need to work. Okay? So we don't know the hours. So if you go back and look at how we set up the other problems, we took the dollar amount times hours was the dollar amount, right? A dollar amount here times hours here gave us a dollar amount here. Same kind of setup, but we're going to be missing the hours this time. So I'm going to take $16.25, my dollar amount, times my hours. I don't know what those are. A little bit of algebra. Equals $585. Again, dollar amount, hours, dollar amount. Now, for those of you that know a little bit of algebra, or if you don't, since I have a coefficient times a variable, I'm going to divide out my coefficient. All right, so take $585 and divide it by $16.25. I get 36 hours. It's just division. So if you're working backwards trying to find the hours, all you have to do is divide. There might be one or two like that on the homework, but if you need to, go back and watch the video again. Your homework is the Google form in the shared folder in the classwork section. Good luck.